Why
Wait
is this
one.
coming out
All right.
now?
All right. Now we live.
Versus I
Damn.
guess like and it's been this they've had a team of these people since the
Hold on
70s.
1 second. People talking about the mothership that's coming. And my man right here read a little bit of it. I'm gonna go back a little bit, Keisha, not much.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
Not much. All right, cool.
Will appear in a billion years, or functional equipment such as autonomous devices equipped with artificial intelligence, electronic probes employing conventional chemical propulsion, and refueling that we could currently don't basically understand would be a likely choice for travel with the planetary system, some combination of conventional propulsion, ion propulsion, or light cell propulsion. And it said that basically it could grab maybe like from the sun, basically recharge batteries or something there, their theory on that. Um, so they're going to propulsion masters. So they're going through all these different things here. Optical emissions, other observable signatures, and a lot of technological verbiage. So that is the report that was written from Harvard and as well as our UFO Pentagon chief. It's a memo. Thank you, retired AFCA. Thank you, buddy. So I guess the biggest thing is like, what is this distraction really for? You know,
Mm-hmm.
So they basically what it gets down to is that the mothership could be dropping probes. Okay, and they're I guess they're theorizing that is what we're seeing with these objects that are able to move. They don't understand the propulsion system that they're saying is well beyond our technological capabilities, and that they don't fit the physics that humans are capable of creating. Right, it defies our physics. Um, Forbes also talks about this. Reform to military justice system endangered by slow pay. Oh, this is not the article. Let me pull it up. Yeah, that was not it. This is what I'm talking about here. Some UAP sightings don't fit current physics, right? And this
Mm-hmm.
was March 9th, so
So
what, a few
smart.
days ago.
Huh?
So again,
Because we
they're
so
saying
smart.
that
I know.
these objects don't fit physics, so
Let me pause.
it wouldn't.
You see how he looking, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, a lot of people going to be shocked. Okay, people are very shocked at what their our this European technology.
Yeah.
They are very shocked. Not the ones in the Pentagon because they know a lot of shit was going on. But the normal folks are very shocked that there's things out there that's smarter than them, right? And a lot of people know that's true, but you got some that kind of it throw them out off when they really see that these things really exist. You know what I'm saying? You always hear about it, but when it really if it seems like it's coming to reality now. There's a mothership coming towards Earth, so I'm gonna keep playing on this.
Even happen naturally is what they're getting to. This movement pattern would not even happen natural, like from a meteor, things like that. So this is something very unusual and appear to be, like you see here, highly maneuverable objects.
Mm.
So I just wonder, like again, why is this coming out now?
I know why.
Versus I guess like I mean, it's been this they've had a team of these people since the 70s. Ripple effect. Aliens are fallen angels. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, that is a theory that I've heard quite a bit as well. Obviously it's a distraction, so of some sort. If it's a man-made distraction with the government, some deception. Um, who knows? I mean, I have my own theory. Let me throw my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory out there. Okay, in Vietnam era, or whenever JFK developed the first kind of special operations, he tasked them. They weren't the first special operations, but he tasked the Navy to create a special operations team, which became the Navy SEALs. And they were like, teams 1, 2, 3. Then they made 6. They jumped up the number, and to make the world think that we had way more teams than what we actually had. So the U.S. government could say, well, yeah, there's aliens, and we're friends with them, and they're highly advanced. So just go ahead and stay in place. I mean, these are things that we're seeing. We've seen these reports, but we haven't seen it. I mean, they could literally. I mean, you've seen movies with amazing footage, right? You watch a movie, and if it looks real, it's great quality. So them showing you a fuzzy video that they say a fighter pilot, and this is conspiracy theory tinfoil hat, so just bear with me. They could easily make that. They could easily control you with something like this. So I would just be, very skeptical of that. I'm not a believer in aliens. I guess, however, anything's possible at this point. We have green lasers that China's shooting over Hawaii. So I mean, who knows? Who knows what kind of, when I say UFO, what kind of craft that are even the technological capabilities that we even have it there we don't know about, right? So a lot of things could happen, but it's kind of like as well as the skepticism of the moon landing. They didn't have cell phones then. They barely had good cameras, and you mean to tell me that a camera was sending the footage down to Earth while you're watching this real time?
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway,
mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying this would be something easily you could control, and use to maybe control the world. Hey, we have aliens. There's been with the Canadian Prime Minister, or not the Prime Minister, Ministry of Defense or something like that, maybe 10 or 12 years ago, maybe 15 years ago now, said that America was ran by an alien force called the Tall Whites. Edward Snowden had also mentioned the Tall Whites, and some other folks. So this is the thing. It could be very much a control measure technique, but that's my conspiracy theory. There's no proof in that. Just something I'm spitballing. Just something I think about. Yeah, Lori Lightfoot could be. Lori Lightfoot definitely could be an alien.
I'm gonna pause my brother right here. Hold on 1 second.
The reason why the Pentagon is finally saying something, they've been known all this time, but see, they can't hide it no more. It's been too many sightings, and people there's cameras. These iPhones picking up real clearly. So you can't lie no more. Oh no, that's just a solar flare. No, it's too many people around the world.
Yeah.
That has video. Live video.
Clarity.
So of course they're gonna say something now. Of course. Oh, we gotta get in front of this. Well, there may have been aliens. They are. Look, even in the Bible, honestly, it says now these are different versions of the Bible. NKJV, New King James Version. This is Hebrews. All of these are Hebrews 11, verse 3. Okay. By faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God. It said worlds. Now, when I was in school, I know they done changed a lot now. They don't even teach kids how to write letters no more. But when I was growing up, when you add an S, that's plural. That's more than one. And that's, like I said, that's NKJV. But the NLT, which is the New Living Translation, says, by faith, we understand that the entire universe was formed at God's command.
Right.
What is the universe? The universe is everything. Sorry about that.
You good? Yeah, I think honestly, man, they that's why when Trump was in office, he said something about he was trying to get a space military. right? We'll call it a space force, like a space force. And I don't know if they started a project or what, but they knew what was going on then.
Yes.
That's what they was talking. They was talking about that then. If now, then I think about it, he was like, "We're gonna try to get a space force together, military, so we can protect space." And now, and then all that after he got out of office, Biden came in, and COVID came in. All that shit was up. Nobody said anything about no space force. But now
You
they
ain't heard
want.
about it no more, right?
Nope.
My thing is this: where do you think they come up with all these movies?
Yeah.
You think somebody just literally sitting up? I think this would be a good idea for a movie. No, this stuff is really happening. And then you got the highly educated, as my grandma would call people that's real educated. Those are
Right.
the ones that know so much you can't tell them nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That you so smart that you know earthly good.
Right.
You don't even believe what you see in front of you.
Mm-mm.
These people are not just writing this stuff out of the blue.
No.
How many remakes have there been of War of the Worlds?
Mm-hmm.
So when old boy was talking about the mothership dropping probes, what that sound like?
Independence Day.
Because were they not putting different ones in different spaces?
And
then the probe part in War of the Worlds, they was dropping probes and it was going into the earth. And at a specific time, they would come up out the earth.
Right.
The thing is, they know this. Even what's this movie? I want to say 2012. How they got the arcs and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
See, people be like, these scientists. So you have scientists that they want to denounce everything that's in the Bible. Oh, that's just man-made. Guess what? A dictionary is man-made. Every book you read is man-made.
Right.
You don't want, like, I truly, honestly believe scientists read the Bible, they dissect it, and they take out parts, and they be like, you know what, this is really happening right now. Let's just study this. Because everything that's going on today is talked about already in the Bible.
The Bible, right.
At the end of Hebrews is at the end of the Bible. Hebrews backed up by Revelation.
Yeah.
And it's talking about worlds, and that's more than one. Come on now.
Exactly, man. It's this Bill, you heard of Billy Carter?
No.
Let me see what he's talking about. Let's listen to what he's got. 1 second.
Tonight. Oh, thank you, Quest. I appreciate you so much. We got an early donation tonight. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, Brother Carson. 100%. It's unfortunate. I feel so necessary that thought, a man of conviction, passion, dedication, self-awareness, relentless pursuit of lifting,
I seen him
fails of
before.
ignorance.
I just
Thank
didn't
you
know
so
his
much,
name.
Quest. I appreciate you. Again, it's going to be another great night. Now, I'm going to take my time walking through this because I'm going to present different perspectives of what this thing could or could not be. And I'll talk about Oumuamua as well, another interstellar object that came into our solar system that the same exact Harvard scientist that spoke on this mothership has also spoken on Oumuamua and said it was also a spaceship. So it's going to be interesting. Very interesting talk tonight. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to use a little bit of partial PowerPoint. I got a couple of light video clips to showcase as well. Want to get into a little bit of science also. So it's going to be a great night. Okay, now, let me add this to the screen. Pentagon officials suggest alien mothership in our solar system could send mini probes to Earth, right? That is the headline that's been going around for like what, maybe the last two and a half weeks, right? About two and a half weeks, it's been going around like crazy. So I decided to dig deep into it. As you guys know, I don't just hop on topics right away and start talking on them. just so I can get my views. I don't want the views. I don't want the what I want is I want to get as close to the truth as possible. That's what I want. And to do that, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. I have to do research. I have to look into things. I got to make phone calls, talk to physicists, scientists, anybody that I possibly know in the field, do extra research on different documents, look up scientific studies, or whatever the case may be, whatever could be possibly be related to whatever that hot topic is of the day, right? I don't want to be a type of person that as soon as something hits the news, I take it and throw it up on my YouTube account and run away with it like it's gospel. Because if that's the case, we might as well all go to church and sit down and listen to a pastor. Okay? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I never have, and I never will. If you see me talk about something almost immediately as it hits the headlines, it means I already knew about it or knew enough about it to speak on it at that moment. I think a lot of people get information from the news or the internet, and if it's a hot topic or a hot headline, they'll speak on it without even taking time to know about it or research it or understand what it is, just because they want to be one of the first ones with the topic or the subject line online so they can get more views, more likes, more clicks, and everything else. And that's just never been my style. That's never been my style. To me, when you do stuff like that, that's a lack of abundance mentality. I think what you're trying to say to the universe is you don't believe you can manifest abundance. And so what you have to do is you have to outsmart the universe and outsmart the people by jumping the gun and doing something that goes against all credibility, just so you can make a couple of stink dollars that you blow away and piss away within just a few days, because it's not even a lot of money. So I think it's better to take your time and dig a little deeper and even meditate on it sometimes. Come up with some hypothesis, come up with some ideas, things to think about. Thank you, Neo. Things that you can think about the topic that might lead you to more questions, that might lead you to more answers. So if I sound a little congested, that's because of the dust out here. The dust is really killing me. It's really, I'm in the desert. I'm actually in an actual desert. The town looks like the 1800s. Pretty interesting. But so that's what I do. You guys who've known me for a while, that's my MO. That's how I operate. That's why it's unfortunate for trolls who take information and hop online and throw stuff up. That's why I made that video the other night, right? People grab information from all kinds of sources and they think they've got the hot topic, and then they come to find out they have diddly squat. Not only did they have diddly squat, but they're getting sued. One of the lawsuits that I had talked about the other night is getting filed this week in St. Louis, Missouri. There's going to be a lawsuit filed this week, and when you jump the gun too fast, when you try to speed up and get ahead of everybody, or make this miraculous discovery that nobody hardly knows about, just because you're rushing to try to get it out there, you end up sometimes screwing yourself. So it is what it is. All right. It is what it is. Anyway, this is a hot topic. This is a real hot topic. Pentagon officials, suggest alien mothership. Now, what's interesting is as I dug a little deeper, I saw different variations of this same exact topic online. Here's Revolt, which is actually published on Yahoo News. Pentagon believes alien mothership could be eyeing Earth, right? Could be. Not that it is, but that it possibly could be. If you go back to the first one, it's saying Pentagon officials suggest alien mothership. In other words, it's another one of those could be's, and could be sending out mini probes to Earth. These are hypotheticals. Let's look again here. The Gazette. Pentagon officials claim alien mothership could send ships to Earth in a draft research paper. So I had to go and find out what this draft research paper was, because when you look up the word draft, right? Look up the word draft. Let's look it up right now. Draft definition. It says a preliminary version of a piece of writing. Okay, so we're talking about a preliminary, right? When you go take preliminary and look that up, what do you get? Preliminary, denoting an action or event preceding or done in preparation for. You see, you're getting a little bit of an idea how I study things now. Do you understand how I do a little studying and research. So now what it's given me this understanding is, after digging and digging, now I'm getting a little bit closer to what this actual statement is all about. There was a preliminary draft of a paper written up about the potential of an alien mothership that could be in outer space and that could send probes to Earth because of something that we would do. You see? So it's not that there is or has been spotted. What they're saying is there's a strong possibility that there could be, based on different things, in terms of the number of potential life forms and civilizations that exist and so forth and so on. And who wrote this paper? Avi Loeb wrote this paper, a Harvard scientist. He wrote the draft. He's also the person that wrote the draft on Oumuamua. Now, he's got some phenomenal hypothesis and some great observations. So I respect Avi Loeb. I don't think that he's wrong in what he's doing. What I do think, though, I think that the mainstream media saw it as a very hot draft paper and took that draft and made it into a spectacular headline to generate a lot of views and a lot of listeners and a lot of watchers, a lot of YouTube clicks, a lot of blog clicks. They created a whole frenzy with this thing. Not a frenzy of fear, because I don't think people were scared, but I do think that a lot of people were like, wow, they're finally getting ready to give us disclosure, when in actuality, the deeper I dug into it, it ended up being a draft paper written at Harvard that wasn't fully even completed and published yet. So that's what it is. Now, it's interesting is Avi Loeb is well respected. He was one of the top consultants on the Oumuamua object that came through our solar system. So I deeply respect him. I'm going to try to get him on the podcast because I love talking to real scientists, because when I talk with a scientist, I can have a great conversation. He's well versed in astrophysics, orbital mechanics, and all those topics. And he writes a lot of stuff on these topics by Harvard. He's been considered an expert in the field. So again, there's nothing against Avi Loeb. What Avi Loeb did was he wrote a draft, and somehow someone leaked that draft to the media, and then the media created sensational headlines about a mothership, out there in our solar system. Now, if we look at some of the past testimonies by former military, which happened in the Disclosure Project, where they testified before Congress. I think that was around 2013 or so. I can't remember the exact year. But about 15 or 20 former military testified before Congress that there was ships, massive ships in our solar system. One of them actually said one was the size of 2 football fields in our solar system. So do I believe that they exist? I absolutely do believe they exist. And let me tell you why. There's a book. It's a Ronald Reagan's diary. Okay. Let me see if I can get
Hold on, Keisha.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure you stay there.
a picture of this book. You guys know I like that. And then the media created sensational headlines about a mothership, out there in our solar system. Now, if we look at some of the past testimonies by former military, which happened in the Disclosure Project, where they testified before Congress. I think that was around 2013 or so. I can't remember the exact year. But about 15 or 20 former military testified before Congress that there was ships, massive ships in our solar system. One of them actually said one was the size of 2 football fields in our solar system. So do I believe that they exist? I absolutely do believe they exist. And let me tell you why. There's a book. It's a Ronald Reagan's diary. Okay. Let me see if I can get a picture of this book. You guys know I like to always come with the receipts. It just came to the top of my mind right now. Otherwise, I would have had this image ready, but I'm going to pull this image up for you real quick. Let me go to my book list of books that I bought from Amazon, right? And all I got to do is type in Reagan. It should pop up. Excuse me. Should pop right up. There it goes. Let me take a picture of this right quick and put this on the screen because this is really, really important stuff, right? Ronald Reagan Diaries. Let me pull this up, print screen. And I'm going to, excuse me, guys. I'm going to make this into an image real quick so that I can share it. So dry. Man, close that. All right, now all photos. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Let me just make this file. This is really important. What I'm about to read to you is going to be mind-blowing. And this is in the Library of Congress, what I'm about to read to you, okay? The Library of Congress. Let me open this up. And it, to me, when you see what I'm about to say, to me, it points to the fact of what Avi Loeb has already assumed. It means to me that he's probably pretty much spot on in a couple of ways. One way, we have a lot of technology here that we haven't disclosed. And you're going to find out about that right now. Let me crop this image and let me save it. Now you're going to see what I'm talking about. But I like to show these images because I want you to see exactly what my sources are and give you the chance to go look it up yourself. So you know I don't make stuff up. I'm not like these fake trolling accounts that just make stuff up off the top of their head. You see, I like to come with facts. That's the most important thing. When you come with facts, nobody can debate you, right? Thank you, girl from the Bay 93. If we have mothership-like technology, then why do you think we're sending people into space? Great, great question. That's a phenomenal question. Excuse me, while I'm processing this image. So why do we send people in space if we have all this advanced technology on primitive chemical-based rockets? Well, we send them on primitive chemical-based rockets because we are suppressing the advanced technology. As long as people think that's the best we can do, then they're free to explore the galaxy and the universe and the solar system on their own without any encumbrance. We can't stop them. We can't ask them to bring back information on what they've discovered, who they discovered, what they're involved in. Are they trying to mess up another planet? Are they trying to take over another culture, another indigenous culture on another planet? Are they trying to destroy an ecosystem of another planet so that it can be inhabitable by humans? A lot of questions will come into play. A lot of different rules and laws will need to be created from scratch. So the best thing to do is keep it quiet. So you know what it's like? Yeah, we just keep it quiet. Let them think this is the best we got. And while they're thinking on that, we'll be exploring everything out here. And that's what they do, see? So let me pull up this image now. If I can add it to my screen here. Okay, it's uploading now. All right, this is Ronald Reagan Diaries. Now, I first found out about this at the Library of Congress, which a copy of this record is in the Library of Congress, but it's also available without you traveling to the Library of Congress. You don't have to go to DC. You can actually go to Amazon and you can buy this diary. Now, what's important about this diary is that in this diary, Ronald Reagan says that I'm pleased to find out today after meeting with the NASA scientists and astrophysicists that we now have a ship that can take 250 men and women into space. That's the actual quote. He said, after my meeting today, I am pleased to announce that we could take 250. Have you seen a ship that could take 250 men and women into space? Have you seen it? I haven't seen it yet. Not here on this planet. In movies, Star Trek, they have a lot of people. They got 600 people on Enterprise, right? 600 souls, I think they got on that Enterprise. But I haven't seen it in the real world. Why would he put that in his official presidential log, which became part of his diaries, which is located in the Library of Congress? Because he had that meeting and because he got that confirmation that we had that technology. You see, we're talking about the the project that he authorized back in the 80s, which was a fleet of these ships that exist. They actually do exist. And he was made privy to the knowledge of them because he was the one that helped create the funding for those ships. You see? And so they do exist. And that's our technology. So there's a combination of possibilities. One of the possibilities is, we have potential visitors coming from outer space. And I would believe that happens all the time, right? And the reason why is because with the technology that we have, if it was open to the public to know what we actually had and the capabilities that we actually truly do have, it makes sense that we would like to go visit other places. Right now, Virgin Galactic, right? They are creating this space tourism program. So in space tourism, people will be able to take a trip to go see the rings of Saturn, go do an orbit of the moons of Jupiter and come back home, right? If we're doing that now, if we are planning that right now, then what do you think other races that are 400,000 to 1 million years ahead of us are doing? They're coming to visit, they're coming to look, coming to observe, trying to see what's going on, right? Yeah. Hey, Billy, have you ever read Man Being Volume 1, The Transmission? I haven't read that yet. That's a book that I haven't heard of. I got to look that up. By the way, your Compendium of the Emerald Tablets on my daily read. Thank you for that. Well, thanks a lot, Red Pill Rossi. I appreciate that. Thank you for the donation. But I'm going to screenshot this right now, which I just did. And I'm going to find that book and read it. So thanks a lot. So if we would engage in space tourism, why wouldn't they? Shonda Walker, is the firmament real? How are we traveling past it? Great question. Thank goodness. I'm glad you asked that question, Shonda. So there's a lot of propaganda going around on the internet that there's a firmament. There is a firmament that's actually real. It's not a dome, and it's not a barrier that we can't pass through. It's not. It's an actual, the firmament is actually the stratosphere. There's different layers of the atmosphere at the higher levels, all right, leading up into what we call outer space. It surrounds the entire planet. Now, what's interesting is when you look at the Enuma Elish, it talks about the separation of the division of waters from waters. It talks about the fact that Earth was a broken off fragment of this other planet named Tiamat, which was the fourth planet originally from the sun. It was 4 to 6 times larger than Earth, and Mars orbited it. Mars used to be a habitable moon of this Tiamat. Now, astrophysicists confirm in actual scientific peer-reviewed astrophysical books that Mars appears to have been a moon of another planet that broke up and became the asteroid belt. Guess where that knowledge is located? It's located in the Enuma Elish and the 7 tablets of creation, which the Bible took the firmament statements from, and dividing the waters from the waters and everything else about the creation of the planet Earth directly from the Enuma Elish. The part they left out was that the Earth was a fragment, a massive fragment of Tiamat as it broke off and broke away and then recoalesced as planet Earth and took the 3rd spot in orbit. They call it a net. That's what they call orbits and so forth. Gravitational, they call it a net around our sun. And so what's interesting is the Bible copied that information. Now, there's a whole article that I wrote, a whole blog article that I wrote, and that blog article is on forbiddenknowledge.com. It said, yes, we went to the moon, and yes, we lied about it. And in this article, I go over several important key elements, which I'm going to make into a full podcast. I go over the fact of how we launched from this planet and went through a gap in the stratosphere that was opened up by electromagnetic fields that whip out of the planet Earth itself, and how you get through the actual belt, the radiation belt, the Van Allen radiation belt. What is the Van Allen radiation belt, and why did people think we couldn't get through it? I'll give you a short clip of this before I do the full podcast. In the Mercury missions, which were the missions prior to Apollo, we had Black women working at NASA. Black women were the computers. the word computer didn't exist as it does today. When we think of a computer, we think of a machine. Back then, the word computer meant a woman, a human being. Women, Black women were the computers. When you heard of computer back then, in the 60s, it was referencing a mathematical genius, which were Black women. They were called hidden figures. Okay, if you haven't seen the movie Hidden Figures, you need to watch it. So these Black women worked at NASA. I'm talking about a slew of them. They were responsible for all the calculations that made all the projections for splashdowns, launch windows, max Q arcs, and everything else that it takes to get into orbit. It was all done by Black women because they were mathematicals and are still mathematical geniuses. Well, now at the same time that they were working on the Mercury mission to test low orbits of the planet Earth and such to get ready for the future of the Apollo, we have Van Allen, who was a scientist and astrophysicist working for NASA. He came up with the understanding that there was a belt of radiation that was hovering just outside the stratosphere around the Earth, which was created by charged particles that were coming from the sun and radiating, but because of a magnetic field in our ozone layer, they got stuck around the outside of the planet, thankfully for us. And so he had raised a concern to NASA that this belt could pose deadly threat to human beings. Not that it was unpassable, but that it could pose a deadly threat. After further research, this is the part that the people never want to tell you, you know, the people that like to make up the fake news, because they themselves don't even do any research. After further research, they discovered that the belt was thin and that a person could pass through it in a capsule in one day, and you would need to spend 3 months in the heart of the radiation belt with no protection on your capsule to obtain a lifetime dose of radiation. Meaning it had no effect and would have no effect on our capsule because it was radiation hardened and protected, as well as the fact that it would take 1 day to pass through the radiation belt. But they also found out something else interesting. Where the magnetic fields whip out of the planet, it creates a gateway or a highway through the belt. In other words, a much even thinner location where the belt spreads out as Earth's magnetic field whips out. And you're able to time this. So they created a launch window that sent them directly through that massive opening. And that's how they launched through the window out into space. You must travel 33 times the speed of sound to escape Earth's gravity. This is what a lot of the people don't know about because they don't study physics or astrophysics or aeronautics. And because they don't study that, they don't know that you must travel 33 times the speed of sound. If you're not traveling at 33 times the speed of sound, you'll never break Earth's gravity. You'll just travel around the planet nonstop. Okay? So I'm glad you asked the question, Shonda. It gave me a chance to drop in some of my science. All right? All right, cool. So now, let me go back here because I want to talk about a couple of things, and I'm going to do that full talk. I'm going to do that full talk on, yes, we went to the moon, and yes, we lied about it. I'm going to tell you about what we lied about in that podcast when I come back and do that podcast. Is it true that 6 billion-old Black woman's body was found on the moon in the 1970s? I don't know the age of that body that was found, but I believe that the footage is actually true. I believe the footage is true. I know for one thing, and the reason why I'm saying this, by the way, because I looked up that moon image where that supposed body was taken from. And in that image, there's a gigantic anomaly on the moon. And I mean, it's massive. It's twice the size of New York City. It's super massive. I'll show that in my podcast that I do about the moon. Actually, I'll bring that up and show you that. And I'll get a clip of that woman that Queen Elizabeth is referencing, so you guys can see what we're talking about. The astronaut that took that footage from the Apollo mission, the camera that he used to take that footage, he took that camera and kept it. And then he escaped into Africa. He was actually wanted for arrest. There was a warrant for his arrest. And he went into Africa, a non-extradition country, and he's been hiding there. He's probably dead by now because he's really old, but he was hiding there for decades. And this is well known. So pretty interesting. If he didn't have nothing to hide, why is he running from NASA with that camera? And supposedly that image that Queen Elizabeth is talking about came from that camera. Vincent Green. If the pyramids are a multifunctional stone computer and emits electromagnetic energy, does that mean that our bodies are multifunctional computers as well? Yes, it does. That's exactly what we are. We are multifunctional computers. We are multidimensional spiritual people. Our minds connect to 11 dimensions. This is now scientific fact. Matter of fact, I was just talking about this today in my lecture. That's why I'm here in Arizona. I just did a lecture on spirituality. And in my lecture, I talked about the multifunctions of consciousness and the human brain, how they collaborate together, and how our mind connects to up to 11 dimensions based on real science. And it was a great lecture. Got a standing ovation here in Arizona. And what I'll do is I'll make that a separate, I'll do another podcast on that topic and show you all the different functionalities of how our avatar bodies are multifunctional and our consciousness is multifunctional as well. Not just multifunctional, but multidimensional, which is huge. So it's going to be an amazing talk. You guys are giving me a lot of great ideas to go through this. Somebody said, yes, white people too. All I can tell you is that the department that were called the computers didn't have white people. I'm not creating divide and conquer. I'm not separating white women from black women. I'm just telling you simply that the people that calculate all the trajectories for the Mercury missions were 100% all black women. It's just a fact. It is what it is. It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with putting anybody down. It's just a piece of history that needs to be noted, that needs to be known. And the reason why is because a lot of black people think that we've never accomplished nothing and we're nothing. We've never been anything. When in true reality, our genius has been used to create this entire planet. Our genius has been used to build civilizations all over the world because primarily minorities are the ones that do the hard labor and make all the inventions to try to make the labor easier for ourselves. And so, the people know this, so they utilize us for various tasks because of our capability, our incredible capability of creativity through conscious thought and our ability to extrapolate and think abstractly to create new ways of doing things. And it's just a fact. It has nothing to do with black or white, who's better than who. It just has to do with, hey, this is what it was. These are the facts. and I like to lay the facts all the way out there because we need to know what accomplishments were done by people in the ancient past, or in the present past, in the recent past, so people can feel like, what? Well, wow, maybe I am somebody. Maybe I'm not this bum loser that they keep telling me on the news, and I'm just a thug, or we're just a bunch of low life, low income people. Maybe we are incredible people and incredible, powerful beings. Maybe it is true. This is why you have to tell people. See, a lot of the information has been robbed from minorities. And everywhere you look, at every turn, every commercial, every TV show, everywhere you turn and look, it's as if there's a level being established where one is here and one is up here. And then people grow up seeing that from the age of 1 to 7 is where you create your personality. And imagine growing up between the ages of 1 and 7 and seeing that you're down here and somebody is up here. You spend the rest of your life believing that. You never believe that you have the capability of achieving the things that they can do and being on the level that they are because you've been programmed to believe you can't. So at some point, you have to show people, no, you're great. Your mind is phenomenal. You can do these things too. You see, that's why it's important. It's not about divide and conquer. It's not about black or white. What it's about is truth. It's truth and enlightenment so that people who are thinking that they don't have the power, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the capability, they can say, wow, well, maybe I can do that too. You see, it's very, very important to point these things out. Extremely important. Do you think the tetrahedron has anything to do with the pyramids? And if so, do you think it could be a Merkabah for ascending? Well, when we went to Egypt with the 70 people in October, we went into the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid, which is a star tetrahedron, because there's a pyramid under the ground and a pyramid above the ground. We were in the King's Chamber doing a special meditation inside the King's Chamber. You could say we were doing a Merkabah meditation, which allows you to create a light vessel, a vehicle of ascension. And so I would say that that's just one of the functions of the Great Pyramid. And I have a whole pyramid podcast coming up where I'm going to talk about the pyramid, all the multifunctions, all the mathematics that are incorporated and encoded into the pyramid, and what they're used for, and what does it mean. So that's going to be a huge one coming up very soon. All right.
Well, not your opinion, it's your thoughts.
What's my thoughts?
Mm-hmm. That's a sharp brother too, but like about the the technology that we've been had, they try to hide some of the stuff, and I'm gonna share some stuff about something. Let me just say that, and then you say your thing. All right, I was at my mechanic house, right?
Mm.
And my mechanic, he had a neighbor, and a neighbor came on and he asked Quincy something. So as he walked off, he went in one direction. So he went somewhere. So I'm in my car, and I'm going home, and I saw him walk, and I said, well, "You need a ride?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm going to the store, get something to eat." And I said, "I'll take you." So I took him, brought him back home. So while he was in the car with me, we talking on some stuff, some deep stuff, like, some scientific stuff. So he told me his brother was in the military. Is in the military, and his brother have a secret clearance. And his brother was in a building, a government building that was several floors, and a couple of these floors he didn't have secret clearance for, right? And but his brother went down to these couple floors he didn't have secret clearance for to go to, but he went anyway, right? I don't know if he did by mistake or he just trying to see what the hell is going on down there or what, right? He said he told me they were splicing genes. He said they were splicing different types of genetic animals. The gorgols be on them churches in Europe and shit. You know what I'm saying? He said he saw an alligator with wings. Literally. His brother told him. He told him that he saw an alligator with wings. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of secret government stuff going on around here. But go ahead. What you think about the opinion about this, about the mothership and stuff?
So again, yes. Again, I say the reason why the Pentagon is even mentioning it, whether people believe it or not, all you gotta do is go on YouTube and look and type in anything, sightings. They don't just say 1960 nothing. No, they're saying 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So of course they're gonna say something now because too many people got videos.
Right.
There's too much evidence.
Mm-hmm.
So you think the government gonna be like, no, everybody lying. You don't see that. You don't see those. You don't see those beams. No, you don't see those. Like no. You don't see. It's videos and people are putting it out there. What's the first thing people do when they see something? They put it on social media.
Right.
So of course the Pentagon they got no choice but to say something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Think about it. They didn't mention coronavirus until it really got out.
Right.
And they couldn't have it no more. I still say to this day, I had coronavirus a year before coronavirus came out of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I got so sick in 2019 out of the blue. Like, it was the flu times 9,000.
Oh.
Instantly weak. Hot and cold at the same time. Nose, head, feel like it was horrible. I had to stay up on it. I couldn't lift up, I had to stay on the side of the bed. Someone had to put a garbage can next to the bed. That was a year before coronavirus was even mentioned. That's why so many people died so quick. It had already been out a year or two. They didn't say nothing about it until it really got out. We done lost control of this. We got to mention it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's what's going on now. They have no choice but to mention it.
Right. Right.
It's
happening too much. It's happening too much.
Yeah.
It's happening too much. People can't. Mm-hmm.
It ain't like the 60s, what they call it in Texas, Waco.
Right.
Undercover stuff, and they was able to lie and say, it was just a weather balloon. It was just affecting the sunlight.
Right.
No. Because I've seen the video. It was somewhere in Mexico, and it was rings, and it was more than one person that got the same video. Everybody ain't lying.
No, everybody ain't lying. No.
Because if I'm in Detroit, Michigan, and I see something, and somebody is in Colorado and see the same something, I don't know them. They don't know me.
Exactly.
It ain't that much doctoring up a video in the world.
No, people always say it's a host, a video edit. They always say that, like every damn video
Always.
comes out, it's edited, it's not real,
And
it's
them the
fake,
ones that's gonna be lost and stay lost.
and they're gonna be. And once they really see something that blow their mind, their hearts, they gonna lose it, man. They are going to lose it. I'm trying to find something.
I think there's so much out here if people would just read or look up stuff like things that's in archives. Look up a lot of these fighter jet pilots. Look up some of their reports. A lot of stuff been declassified that once was classified. And I know they done seen some stuff. I know they have.
And who you talking about? Who you referring to?
The fighter jet, anybody that was a fire jet pilot.
Okay.
Because they're closer to the atmosphere. They're not just like regular airplanes, from point A to point. No, they're up there.
Them fighter jets, yeah, they can say a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. I'm gonna share this with you. Hold on one second. Did you hear about this right here?
Last night, you might have seen a bit of a light show. We got a lot of calls into our newsroom last night about those mysterious lights in the sky. Take a look. Some new video out of San Joaquin County. One of the many videos.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. They were seen as far north as Sacramento. And take a look at this. This picture was taken up near Sacramento in Elk Grove.
What?
Everyone clearly
like you mean to tell me somebody else
this, like
this
a
is
parade
doctor?
of lights. Here in the Bay Area, this was a...
Say again.
So you mean to tell me this doctor too?
That's what I'm saying. Like, and look how it's flying. It's not flying like it's asteroid or whatever. It's flying like it's controlled.
Like it's not a comet.
Taken from Sebastopol.
Right. It's not a comet.
Tonight we're getting a better idea of exactly what those lights are all about. Joining us now with some answers is Chabot Space Center astronomer Gerald McKeegan. First of all, thanks very much for taking the time to explain this, because I think some people have some serious questions about this. Let me ask you that question. What was that? What was that?
Well, what you saw was the breakup of a communications module that had been attached to the International Space Station. It was taken to the...
He can't even get a damn lie right. So, they don't pick some fool up and just put him on damn news.
Well, the satellite broke up.
Yeah, like, who the hell they get this man from? Let me see something, man. I mean, it's just different stuff. Fireballs are over California. Let's see this right here.
The first time you made a sale online was also the first time you heard of a town named
Dinosaur. We just got an order from Dinosaur.
All right, we want to show you some video that had a number of you calling into our newsroom tonight wondering what in the world. Well, check out this fireball in the sky. People reported seeing it as far north as Sacramento and as far south as Fresno. Our producer spoke with Jonathan McDowell, an astronomer with the Smithsonian, who tells us this was a piece of a satellite antenna from the International Space Station. He says
got a mind of his own,
space junk. There's a lot of it up there. It's been orbiting the Earth's atmosphere for several years, in fact, and experts knew it would re-enter sometime today, but they didn't exactly know when or where. Well, it ended up soaring over Sacramento about 9:30 tonight. McDowell says there is no danger to anyone who sees it. It will break into very small bits. He tells us this was a piece of a satellite antenna from the International Space Station. He says you could call it space junk. There's a lot of it up there. It's been orbiting the Earth's atmosphere for several years, in fact, and experts knew it would re-enter sometime today, but they didn't exactly know when or where. Well, it ended up soaring over Sacramento about 9:30 tonight. McDowell says there is no danger to anyone who sees it. It will break into very small bits before hitting the ground. Based on the trajectory, he expects those pieces probably landed near Yosemite National Park, which is pretty cool. And thanks to those of you who shared this video with us and let us know what you were seeing.
Oh my God.
Cool. And thanks to those.
Anyway, stop sharing this one. Keisha. Okay. I don't know what happened. You can hear that?
I can hear you. I don't hear nothing else.
Okay, yeah. So I would play some more Billy Carson. I go back and watch stuff about the pyramids and the moon. So, this is pretty interesting. But they can't, like I said, they can't hide the shit no more. It's happening too much, man. So it's happening too much. Way too much. Way too much, man.
When I find that video of the prehistoric tooth that looked human and that man was holding it like this, I'm gonna send it to you. It's gonna blow your mind.
What is it now?
It's a prehistoric tooth, and this older white guy found it, and he was holding a tooth like this, but it looked like a regular human tooth, but it's a fossilized tooth, which shows giants once did walk this earth.
Wow, man.
And I'm not talking about the tooth with the root at the bottom and the top part. No, it was showing the top like a molar on the top, and it was like he was holding it like this. I'm 5'10". I'm a female. I know his hand bigger than mine. He was holding it like this.
Hold on, was he? Hold on, like he was holding like what? Like that?
Yeah.
And that was one tooth, right?
One tooth. I was rushing, so I didn't really look. I'm like, wait, what?
Here you go, right here. That's the road you say. That
Oh yeah, my cousin just sent it. Grange
Road. This is the road you saw.
So if you could put up Grange Road in 1988.
Would they come up?
I'm not sure. Let me check. Grange Road.
I don't think it'll come up on here. But it may have not changed that much, though, Keisha.
I don't know. From 1980.
Grange Road, Mile of Michigan, right?
Mm-hmm.
It probably haven't changed, Keisha, though. So this is tell people what this road about. People that's online. Tell them about this road. What you saw.
So I'm 7 or 8. I'm sorry, 8 or 9, and I'm playing in the country because Miley, Michigan, then was the country. Dirt roads and ditches, no street lights, none of that. Neighbor is about a mile and a half away. Excuse me. Our house. I was living with my aunt, going to Miley, Michigan. Miley Middle School, and our house sat back off the road. We used to have to ride the bike to the mailbox. That's how far back it sat. And one summer, I'm sitting in the field next to the driveway. To the left of me is the forest. To the right of me is the driveway. The other side of the driveway is the house. And sorry, my eyes watering. And the country, there are sounds. You have birds, different kind of birds. You have frogs. Because if you live in near a real forest, it's like a little swampy, a little wet. So you're gonna hear frogs, different frogs, and just the country sound. And all of a sudden it went bloop, nothing. As if someone had a light switch and just turned it off.
Right.
Now, when you playing, I'm playing, so I'm zoning in what I'm playing with.
Mm-hmm.
And when the sound just stopped, I just looked up because it was just like, Whoa. I didn't feel scared in the beginning.
Was it something like this? Go ahead. House like this?
And
You see this house? Is something like this?
Hmm?
Was the house something like this?
I don't see anything.
Yeah. Hold on one second, Keisha. I'm sorry, everybody. Wait a minute. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be sharing this. All right. I'm sorry. Was it how this?
I wish I had the address.
Something like
Oh
this?
my goodness.
Well, I'm on the street though, so is it similar to that house? That yard, the background, the area?
Wait a minute, go back to the driveway. See, that's the whole street. No, it's the country. That's paved. We lived off a dirt road.
It was a dirt road y'all live off. Okay.
And it was a real driveway. That looked like a little trail.
Like this?
It was wider than that, but long driveway like that. But it was longer than that. But it's a long driveway, just like that.
Okay. A long driveway.
Mm-hmm.
Like that?
So now pause it right there. So you see how long that driveway is?
Uh-huh.
So my auntie, where you going? No, go back. What's going on? No. Go back to where you were. Wrong way. Now face the driveway. No. Turn to the driveway. Okay, stop right there. So our mailbox, instead of the mailbox being on that side of the dirt road, it was on the other side of the driveway. And our house was sitting to the right of that. Where that bush is by the front, but in the back. You
right
see
here?
That bush? Okay, if you go to your left, I guess, that's where the house would have been sitting. It would have been sitting over there, but it's further back.
I'm assuming.
No. I'm just trying to give you an idea. Because if you zoom in, because the driveway is not the same driveway. And to my left, which is your right, is where I would have been sitting. In the middle of that field. And like you see how, it's not. I wish I had the address. You see where them little bitty trees at? A few trees at?
Right here.
No, go to your right. Those little, no, come back. You're right. Or your left. Where's your left? Because you're facing me, right? Okay,
I'm not facing
those little trees.
I'm not facing you, huh? We're looking at the same thing, Keisha. So my left is your left. My right, your right.
Okay, so go to your left. Those few trees right there.
Right here?
Come back. No, come back. Those right there. Now, you see the stumps of those trees? You can see how big they are from a distance?
Yeah.
So imagine me sitting in that field and I can see the stumps of the trees in the forest.
Okay.
Did you see those stumps? That's what I saw. But something was strange about the stump that I seen. And I'm a little girl, and it was a little more grass than that.
Right.
And I'm sitting in the field. Now the forest behind it, all the way over to the left, how it looked dark at the bottom, that's how it looked in the forest because the sun only shines, through the leaves. It's not shining directly into the forest, so you got shadows.
Right.
And if you could find a picture that has like a forest, or you can see the base of it, if you can scroll down.
I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna keep going down the street. and see you said things familiar.
You can keep going.
What you about to say though?
I was going to say how when the light shine into the forest, you can see, but you can't see. Like it's so thick, you can't see directly straight through it. But you can see at the base of the trees. You can see the trunks of the trees. See, those are new trees. Our overgrown forest is overgrown, but yet you can still see the trunk of the trees. Now I'm telling you, that just, I got chills on my arms looking at those trees. Just imagine a forest full of those trees.
And that's how the what she's saying is how big the Sasquatch she saw, the Bigfoot.
And I'm
led.
sitting in the middle of the grass, and you see the stumps, and I'm looking, and instantly I felt like someone was just staring at me. You see the forest to your left?
Right
along
here.
that road? That's how it is. And if you were sitting on that road, you could see straight through at the bottom of the trees. At the bottom of the forest, because the sunlight is shining. And whatever that was that I was looking at, and I knew that it had just stopped. It just was out of place. You know, when you outside so much, you know what's out of place and what's in place.
Right.
You've been out there. It's not strange. So you know when something is out of place. And I kept staring. And all of a sudden that what I'm saying it like this because I'm 8 or 9 years old. All of a sudden the tree trunk moved. And the tree trunk was a Bigfoot. It was the foot of it. And his one step was 2 of my steps. His 1 to my 2. I remember just looking at it, and it didn't look like it was walking. It looked like it was just gliding. And I remember just sitting there like, oh my God. I'm a city kid in the country, and I'm looking at Bigfoot. Who in the world? I need a witness, but ain't nobody out there. And I think I was so in shock. I couldn't scream even. I couldn't do nothing but stare. Couldn't do nothing but stare. And then when he got to the edge of the forest, because there's a ditch, then a road, and then a ditch, and then a short land, and then cornfield, and then pine trees. And it got to the edge of the forest, and I'm still looking. Because now I'm like, I'm going to get a good, I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it. He took one step, and literally that one step stepped over a ditch. I don't know how wide a ditch is, but when we were kids, we would try to jump over the ditch and always fall in it. And it was that was one of our playthings. The ditches were not small at all.
There was deep ditches.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that
Does this look familiar? I'm so great.
Is that Grimes? Oh, that is Grimes. You see, because I remember it was one house on a bend. We was a next house before that bend. And like I said, our neighbors really was a mile and a half down. And yeah, that's the country. Yeah. The street is paved, but it wasn't paved then. But yeah, country. Forest.
Wow.
I just wish I knew the address. I don't know the address.
Okay. It's all good. I see it now. So we can just, come back to that later on. But that was the add to the end of this video. What's your experience when you saw Sasquatch? I just saw the name you put on here in the chat. Graham, what is it, Graham's Road?
Grimes.
Grames.
Grames.
Yeah, Graham's Road. Okay. Yeah. All right, we'll do another video.
Okay. And hopefully I had an address. I get the address from my cousin that's a little older than the one that sent me the street name. Maybe she'll remember.
Okay, that'll work. That'll work, Keisha. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
And then we'll talk about this mothership, but they didn't give a time frame when it will be here. And but I just saw this other thing flying in the air. Somebody was a piece of whatever it said was a piece of satellite. What the hell? Anyway, but we'll talk later. I give
All
you.
right. Mm-hmm.
Well, you said okay. All right, we'll talk. I'll call you.
Okay.
Okay. All right.